kid needs a caring adult in their life, someone that they can trust, someone that they can count on. Today I'm going to introduce you to mine. She's pretty special. Meet Grandma Jo. Yo! Hey, Grammy, how are you?
I'm
Good. So you fixed coffee and cookies. Thank you very much. I brought you a little gift.
You
A
did?
little surprise.
Wow, I like surprises. Yeah.
Hopefully you'll get a kick out of this.
Jeffrey style or something else.
Something like that.
Well, it's aqua.
There we go. My first point. I get your favorite color in there.
Well, yeah. Grandma, don't play. Oh, good grief. You mean Grandma means business?
Yeah. So this is a new T-shirt that Johan's designed, and this is the famous story that all the kids love to hear about. One of my first days of school in kindergarten.
Was it that early? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it was kindergarten, and
what
so
grade.
these
Yeah.
kids are supposed to resemble me, and then Kyle over here.
Oh, okay.
Kyle's my little brother, and so that's kind of funny. So, do you want to kind of tell the story or give a synopsis of what was going on?
Well,
You've become quite famous because of this story. I get students that email me from all over the country that want to meet Grandma.
Here I am. Anyway, that is precious. Yeah. So you would come home from school, and you think it was kindergarten?
It was kindergarten, yeah.
Okay. But you had some like lunch money or snack money or whatever. And these two guys, two young kids, older than kindergarten, I think.
Yeah, they were in third grade, I
Were
believe.
they? Okay. And you had complained when you came home that they had taken money from you a couple of days in a row. And so I said, well, see what Grandma can do. So at the setup there at the school, remember, the school was on a lower level, and then there was the bank, and then the parking lot for Weston Church.
Yeah, they had that big hill up there,
Yeah. And so I said, I'm going to park right up on the hill, and I can see what's going on down there. And if they confront you again that day, I would come down and hopefully talk to them or resolve the issue. So
I think there was some talking involved, but that's not what you're best known for. I think this picture kind of sums up what most students will remember.
yeah, that's true. And so I decided that we should go into the principal's office and make them aware of what was going on outside. So Grandma took the little boy's ears and said, we're going into the principal's office, and they didn't resist.
And try to get away.
But if a person did that nowadays, you get arrested.
Right. I don't know if you get away with that nowadays, but back then, and you're a little old school with your discipline, and that's just how we rolled.
Right. So.
As I talk to students, students remember that story. I think when I speak to parents, they really relate with. I'm sure it had to be difficult for you. I got picked on all growing up, and I talk to so many parents. They feel hopeless. They don't know what to say. Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do, how to stop it when their kids being picked on. What was it like for you to be in that role and see that happen?
Well, I was protecting my one and only grandchild, and so I was going to get something done.
Yeah.
We were going to get this taken care of, and so. Yeah, because, you had been daycared here at our house for, I think it ended up for 12 years, because then your brother came along, and so I had you before school and after school in summers. And so Grandma had a lot invested in you guys. Yeah.
Well, even when I was in middle or high school, technically I was old enough to stay home alone with Mom and Dad working full time, but because of the relationship, still came here every day after school.
Right.
Until he got picked up, and that was neat. I think every student really needs an adult that advocates for them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
For me, I struggled in a lot of areas, and if I ever had to identify who was the person that advocated for me the most, of course it would be you. And so just very thankful for that.
Well, it's been a blessing for me to be able to do that daycare for 2 of my grandchildren. And I never regret the time I spent with them. And that's just that we've had a special relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really something I'm thankful for.
Well, you supported me a lot of times. I know that there were definitely times in my life where I needed probably a swift kick in the pants. So I'm curious if you recall a time where you kind of have pulled me accountable, or if you have any advice for parents of how to do that in a way that's loving, because I remember you holding me accountable, but there was never a moment where I didn't feel loved or supported at the same time. I think you did a really good job balancing the two, which is, I think, what every parent maybe sometimes is more tough or more tender, and making sure you're a blend of the both is important. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, it sort of just came naturally. My one goal when I was younger was I wanted to get married and have children. And the thing that was in the back of my mind continually, I will be there for them, because I didn't have that support in my home.
Right.
And so that was very important to me to have a good give and take between us.
So you have a huge fan club, Grandma. I'm curious, any message that you want to say to the students that are watching and that have enjoyed hearing your stories of encouraging me and grabbing kiddos when they're being naughty and all of that? Anything you would say to a kid that's maybe going through something difficult like that may not have a grandma like you in their life?
Yeah, well, they would need to find a trusted adult, someone that they can talk to, and listen and see what the problem is, and then try to come up with some suggestions as to how to handle it. So,
and as much as I think you wanted to solve it for me, once I got older, it was more about empowering me to solve it versus going in and trying to save the day.
Right.